Beerski, thank you for joining me for this video. Perfect timing because
Yeah.
it was literally just dropped today, the leaks of the special illustration rares for the Evolutions for Terastal Festival, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Is Terastal Festival the new Evolving Skies, like everyone is saying that it is and going to be? I guess what is your first impression on what you've seen so far and what we saw today?
These cards are hot. Like I don't know, like they're looking good. This is Prismatic Evolutions in English. Obviously, the Pokemon Center ETBs have been sold out for 2 days or 2.5 days now on Pokemon Center, which is wild. First time that's happened in a little bit in the Scarlet and Violet block. I feel like the set is in a good spot, but it's also in a people are already looking forward to Team Rocket. So I do want to say that because Surging Sparks or what's it called, Super Electric
Breaker, yeah.
Yeah, Super Electric Breaker in Japanese. People were super pumped about that, and then the Evolution set came out, or is coming out, and people are already kind of like moved on from that set to this set.
Pretty rough timing for those special illustration rares to come out literally like 5 days before the new set drops that people were excited for, but
yeah, dude, it just the way like information and things and it leaks. If it's a leak, I don't know. I feel like it could either do really, really, really well. Could it be the next Evolving Skies? Like, is that what we're looking at? Like Eevee Hero set? Could we be there? We definitely could be there.
It's interesting because we know that the set is, I guess, the English version of the set is supposed to have 32 special illustration rares.
And Master Ball Hollows reverse.
Obviously, there's only 9 evolutions, so you're talking about 23 other special illustration rares in the set. That will probably include some trainers. That leaves enough room to potentially see an Evolving Sky situation where we get Terastal forms of the evolutions, and then we get regular alternate art of the evolutions, kind of like what we got with the VMAX and the Vs in Evolving Skies. So there's potential that they could drop a whole nother 9 set of special illustration rares of the evolutions.
Absolutely.
Just in their regular forms and not their Terastal forms. And the art rare for our ETB is that Eevee, which I'm assuming is going to be, or I guess illustration rare, I'm assuming is going to be just a regular art rare in the Japanese set. So I wonder if the Japanese set, maybe we'll get a full set of them as art rares instead of special illustration rares. There's still a lot up in the air, but we've seen so far the Terastal special illustration rares. I kind of want to approach my thoughts on those cards from like a business perspective and personal, if I like them or not. Because business, I mean, obviously, it's crazy. There's so much hype about Moonbryon. Moonbryon is the card of the Sword and Shield era, and now we have another one. Of course, people are going to be super hype about that just because the last one, there's so much love and admiration for that card that it's going to transfer over to the new one. So obviously, from a business standpoint, evolutions are always hot. If you vend at shows, evolutions are one of the most requested things. From that perspective, it's great. Personal perspective, I think they're okay. I really don't like the hats. I've always not liked the hats. It seems to be like a 50-50 online, like on Twitter and these different spaces where I'm looking at underneath the Poke Beach posts and stuff where people are either in love with them or they're like, I really don't like the hats. They're not really doing it for me. So there seems to be like a,
Yeah, the hats, they could be neither here nor there. I don't care so much about the hats. Like, I don't obviously love the hats. I think that they are going to not do too much to the value of the card. Like you said, think of it from a business perspective, personal. Like, you don't have to like everything that crushes. This stuff is going to crush, even if it's just a short-term thing that they're going to crush. Like, so I feel like we're at that cusp now where Scarlet and Violet starts now. Like, now it starts. Like, now things are actually starting to roll with it. Like, we're past some of the stuff. 151 was like a great little appetizer for Scarlet and Violet. And I feel like now we're about to be in a spot where everything that everyone wanted and has been waiting for is about to like drop. And this is the way to drop it. Like, this is the set. Like, oh, we're going to give you that full art Pikachu that you wanted and the alt art Pikachu, very much like Vivid Voltage. It's moving quicker than that. Like, we're literally going from like that to like the next set. So I just feel like they're giving us what we want and it's all happening now.
Yeah, and it's going to be happening back to back to back to back. And it, like you said, it's going to be tough because we're going to get the Eevee set and then we're going to get trainer tag teams or whatever they're cooking up, and then we're going to get Rocket, and then we're going to get, and it's like, it's just going to be a whirlwind, and trying to keep up with it is going to be the difficult part. One thing that I'm curious about though is if they don't do any more special illustration rares of the evolutions, and there's 32 of them, that either means there's going to be a lot of trainers or they're going to be padding it a lot with other Pokemon.
I would almost bet that they're going to have other evolution cards other than just those. Like, if they don't, though, you could just get a lot of duds. But that could also be good for the set because it's going to make the Umbreon, Espeon, any of the evolutions that much harder to pull.
That's
when
true,
there's
'cause
30 something others it's going to be artificial scarcity of that. Plus, you're going to have the Master Ball reverse hollow.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I threw money at my camera the other night. I don't have it here. I just want to throw it at the camera again because, like, I'm just waiting to see what the pull rate for those are. If it's a difficult pull rate and it's not one per ETB or, like, you know, if it's one per every 25 packs, that's going to be wild.
I forgot that this one was going to be a specialty set because...
Yeah, no booster boxes, man.
Yeah, no booster boxes. So, I mean, we kind of get guarantees in booster boxes where, like, you're at least going to get a full art Pokemon most of the time, you know, and you're going to get a certain amount of illustration rares, a certain amount of EXs. But the ETBs is just like, that's just random. That's just packs thrown in at random. Usually they're not structured in any way. You could get an ETB with 5 Master Balls in it. Like, that would be pretty crazy. You know, in Japanese for the 151 now, the most expensive card, and I think maybe it's always been this way, but the most expensive card is the Pikachu in Master Ball. It's not like the typical hit that you would think, like the Charizard or the Blastoise or the Mew or anything like that. It's a Master Ball reverse holo.
Gengar's close second. You know, you get one every box, but it's a cool concept. Like, I'm excited to see where it goes in the English side.
It's just kind of weird because I feel like we're booming at the exact same point that we boomed during Sword and Shield.
Yeah,
we boomed right before Vivid Voltage came out, and Surgeon Sparks is literally Vivid Voltage 2.0.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
It's
that's
weird.
What I said before. Yes, Vivid Voltage 2.0, but it's going from Vivid Voltage to Evolving Skies. It's skipping some of the filler in between there.
Yeah, true.
And it's just like boom, here you go. But like that's exactly what it is. People were canceling pre-orders for Surging Sparks to pre-order this new one because it came out. There's an Eevee on the box. Like it's just so. It's nuts.
If you guys are enjoying this video so far, make sure you go and check out Beerski Collects over on YouTube. He also runs an awesome podcast with another friend of the channel, Ponga. Definitely subscribe to that channel as well. I will put all of his social links in the description below. Check him out. He's a wonderful human being and definitely deserves your support. One other thing I wanted to mention before we move on to our next topic. Do you think that these alt arts for this set, since they are evolutions, since they're coming right on the back of Evolving Skies just a year or two later, do you think that they could have like a downward pressure effect on the Sword and Shield alt arts from Evolving Skies? Do you think we could see Moonbreon come down a little in price because those Moonbreon collectors now have a new Moonbreon to try and chase?
Oh, that's interesting, actually. I could see a little bit of that. Obviously, newer is better. That's what we've all been told, and kind of beat that into your existence because that's what's kind of happening. It can. I think that Moonbreon card is a generational card for people who got in now, and that's kind of like the status quo. I personally like the artwork on the new one better than the Moonbreon. I personally like the... Oh, you don't. I know you don't.
I disagree.
I personally like the Umbreon V card better than I like the Moonbreon
I
art.
agree with that.
Like, I don't think the Moonbreon art is the best artwork in that set even.
The art is so good and they don't have the hats, and I just appreciate that so much.
Yeah,
but I know that the texture is going to be insane on these cards, especially in Japanese.
Look at that Umbreon card. Like, and I think that is, I think that's a Conda. It looks like a Conda card.
Some people are saying possibly Komiya as well.
That's not bizarre enough. I feel like Umbreon would be like, he's standing up there and would be like doing like an F. You know what I mean? Like, Komiya is doing some things.
Like the Gengar that's like all like...
Absolutely all wonky and stuff. So
I think the thing that I like so much about the Sword and Shield alts compared to these alts is the fact that the backgrounds and the surroundings of the Pokemon are so much more interesting in the Sword and Shield arts.
Yes.
These are very cool. They're much more like paintings. The Glaceon looks almost like a stained glass window, and they're very symmetrical, which I love. I'm a symmetry guy, so I like all that. But at the same time, it's like, I love the Glaceon with the little Pikachu like skating on the ice, and you know, I like the Leafeon pushing the... It just seems like there's more interaction and things going on in the Sword and Shield arts that make them a little more unique to me than these ones.
Look at the Pikachu that's about to come out in English, or the one that came out in Japanese. That's the most whitewashed, terrible looking full art Pikachu ever. It's terrible. The flavor of the minute sometimes in this hobby is wild. It's not even of the day, of the week, of the month. It is like you can ask someone the same question consecutively 5 minutes apart, and they'll give you a different answer on what they like and why they like it.
That's why I like to separate what my personal thoughts are, like whether or not I personally like it, from the business side of things. And sometimes it works against me, because if I purely wanted to push that I'm going to be selling these things, I would be saying, I love them, they're great, oh my god, and I would not say my personal side of things, because, why would I want to negatively or talk down on things that I'm going to be selling in the future? So I like to separate a little bit and be like, you know what, these are not necessarily for me. I like the other ones better, but I'm going to be selling them, and they're pretty damn cool for what they are.
Yeah, no, I think Sword and Shield alt arts are going to be the high bar for what we're going to get alt art wise moving forward. I love arts that tell a story. I love arts that have multiple Pokemon. Most of these ones do. Like when you look at that the Umbreon art, the hat is gigantic, man. Like his head is here and the hat is out here. It looks like Saturn's rings going around my man. There's gonna be a lot of winners and a lot of losers in the next couple of months, depending on what happens. And just be on the right side of it, people, because you can get sucked in easily. I'm glad this isn't happening. When I first got into the hobby, the boom was already gone. Like I came in during the boom and then left, and then came back like a year and a half later when it wasn't booming. Then I had FOMO. Then I can only imagine what like having FOMO now, being like coming in and be like, oh my god, like all these cool ass sets are coming out. What's going on? 100% be careful.
I'm hoping Terastal Festival sounds like a finale almost. Let's party, let's celebrate the Terastal form, and let's move on from it. And I really hope that we can maybe move on from the Terras and move into something new after we celebrate it with a big festival. We can go into the Rocket set, we can leave the hats behind, we can see some beautiful arts.
Yeah, I can't see Rocket guys using hats either. Like I don't feel like the hat sort of is a Rocket thing.
You think Giovanni's going to be wearing a hat like that? I don't
Hell
think so.
no. Absolutely not.